You're not just playing at Disney World anymore, you're playing against it. But if you understand the game, you can dominate it. Here's how to beat Disney World in 2025. Number 1, control freaks. There used to be a rhythm to Disney World crowds. Summer was packed, the holidays were chaos, but mid-January or September, those were golden. If you planned your trip carefully, you could dodge the worst of the rush and walk onto rides with little to no wait. But not anymore. That rhythm doesn't exist anymore because Disney made sure it doesn't. The reservation system introduced in 2020 gave them unprecedented control over park attendance. And even though most ticket holders no longer need reservations, Disney still regulates crowds behind the scenes, cutting off ticket sales once their initial targets are met. Annual pass holders and cast members are still required to make reservations, giving Disney yet another tool to control guest flow and smooth out attendance spikes. With 80,000 cast members living locally and enjoying park access as a perk, and an undisclosed but significant number of annual pass holders, Disney holds a tight grip on who gets in and when. Blackout periods have shown noticeable drops in wait times, proving just how much these groups influence attendance. The result? No more unbearable crowds, no more empty parks. Just a steady, controlled flow of visitors, keeping revenue consistent year-round. But get this, attendance is actually down. In 2019, Walt Disney World saw 58.7 million visitors across its 4 parks. In 2023, that number had dropped to 48.7 million, a staggering loss of 10 million guests in just 4 years. And while 2024 has seen a slight increase, estimated at about 1%, it's still nowhere near the record-breaking levels from before the pandemic. And if you think the pandemic alone is responsible for this drop, think again. So if Disney World is actually getting fewer visitors, why doesn't it feel that way? Because the goal isn't to get more people into the parks, it's to get fewer people who are willing to pay more. The shift started during Bob Iger's original tenure, accelerated under Bob Chapek, and was doubled down on when Iger returned. It's why everything from ticket pricing to ride access is being restructured, and that brings us to wait times. This means that wait times aren't about crowds anymore. It used to be simple. Fewer people in the park equaled shorter lines. That is no longer the case. The difference? Wait times aren't just dictated by how many people are there anymore, they're dictated by how many people are paying to skip the line. Enter Disney's ride skipping systems, Premier Pass, Multi-Pass, and Single Pass. These paid services let guests bypass standby lines, and they come at a steep cost. Premier Pass is the most expensive option, giving guests access to participating attractions with no reservations required. You just walk up, scan in, and ride. Pricing fluctuates based on the time of year, ranging from $129 to $449 per person per day. That's on top of your ticket price. Multi-Pass is a step down in price, but still a major expense. It works similarly to the old Genie Plus system, allowing guests to book one ride at a time from a set list of attractions across multiple parks. The price varies based on the park and date, but expect to pay $25 to $40 per person per day, potentially more during peak seasons. Unlike Premier Pass, this one requires strategy, and if you don't manage it properly, you could end up paying a lot while still waiting in long lines. Single Pass is the simplest option, allowing guests to pay a la carte for access to a select list of rides, lightning lanes, high-demand attractions like Flight of Passage in Animal Kingdom or Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood Studios. Prices fluctuate based on the attraction and date, but typically range from $14 to $25 per person per ride. Now, standby wait times are heavily influenced by how many guests are paying to skip the line. With Premier Pass, Multi-Pass, and Single Pass, Disney has created a luxury tier system where guests who pay more get priority over everyone else. But you don't have to take my word for it. Disney actually gives you all the data you need to make an educated decision, and it's right in the palm of your hand. That's right, the My Disney Experience app. Let's say you're checking the app and notice Star Tours, a ride that usually hovers between 5 and 10 minutes, is consistently sitting at 45 minutes. That's a strong indicator that a significant number of guests are using paid services that day, or that the park is very crowded. If that trend continues in the days leading up to your trip, it's a good sign you might want to consider budgeting for Premier Pass or Multi-Pass, because if even a low-demand ride like Star Tours is backed up, the high-demand rides are going to be brutal. But here's where it gets interesting. Checking wait times daily creates a relationship between you and the parks before you even step foot inside. You start recognizing patterns, what times of day certain rides spike or drop, which parks tend to see the worst backups, and whether the rides you actually care about are the ones getting hit the hardest. Number 2, ticket torture. In 2025, Disney isn't just selling you tickets, they're playing a psychological game to get you to spend more than you need to. Park hopper, after hours, annual passes, every single one feels like the best way to do Disney, but if you don't outthink the system, you're paying for things that might not even improve your trip. Or worse than that, features you won't even use. This is where Disney wins against most people, but you're not most people. Let's break the system together right now. Park hopper. Disney wants you to believe that park hopper is an essential upgrade. It sounds like it gives you complete freedom and security to bounce between parks all day, but in reality, most people don't use it the way they think they will. Now that park hopper is available at any time during park hours, you'd think that means more flexibility, and sure, it does, but there's the problem. Most guests get carried away in their first park. They start the day with big plans. We'll do Magic Kingdom in the morning, then hop to Epcot after lunch, they say, but then suddenly it's 3 p.m. and they've barely scratched the surface of that first park, and they're already exhausted. Now factor in the time that it takes to travel between parks. The monorail, Skyliner, and buses aren't instant. You easily lose 45 minutes or more just getting from one park to another. Disney even recommends you give yourself 90 minutes door to door. By the time you get there, what do you really have time to do, and will that get you your money's worth? That's how Disney wins again, by getting you to pay for an upgrade that you might not even use. For a one-day ticket, Park Hopper costs $65 extra per person. That's a huge additional cost for just one day of park hopping. If you're only visiting Disney World for one day, this upgrade only makes sense in very specific situations. Maybe you have a precise ride strategy and know exactly what you want to hit in each park. Maybe you're visiting on a low crowd day, making park-to-park travel faster. Maybe you only care about a handful of rides per park and don't need to explore much. But if that doesn't sound like you, for a one-day visit, Park Hopper is more like a trap. Here's where the pricing changes everything. As soon as you hit 4 days or longer, the Park Hopper add-on maxes out at $85 total for your entire trip. It does not increase at all after that. That means for a 4-day ticket, Park Hopper now costs only $21.25 a day. For a 10-day ticket, it's just $8.50 per day. At that price, Park Hopper goes from a luxury to more of a no-brainer. The more days you add, the cheaper that upgrade becomes, diluting the cost across your entire trip. So if you're planning a long trip, that $85 gives you maximum flexibility without a major price jump. For a one-day ticket, Park Hopper is an expensive luxury that only works if you have a strict plan. For 2 or 3 days, the decision depends on your energy level and how much you want to do. For 4 or more days, the cost becomes so low per day that it's a smart add-on for flexibility. So is Park Hopper worth it? That's not for Disney to decide, it's for you to decide now that you actually understand how the pricing works. Disney wants you to buy it automatically thinking it's essential, but if you know exactly what you're paying for, you can make the smartest choice for your trip, and that's how you win. After hours. A single day ticket for Magic Kingdom costs between $144 and $199, depending on the date. Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom are slightly cheaper, ranging from $119 to $184. An after-hours ticket runs between $155 and $185, depending on the park and date, which seems comparable, but here's why it's actually a smarter buy. With a regular daytime ticket, you're competing with larger crowds, enduring longer lines, and dealing with the daytime heat. If you want to walk onto rides without making reservations during a regular park day, the Lightning Lane Premier Pass will cost you between $129 and $449 per person per day on top of your ticket price, depending on the date and park, pushing your daily total easily beyond $300. After-hours events aren't exactly like using Premier Pass. You're not guaranteed instant ride access, but because attendance is strictly limited, you rarely wait more than a few minutes for any attraction. And at $155 to $185, it's almost half the cost of using the Premier Pass plus buying your park ticket. Plus, at after hours, you can re-ride attractions, which you can't do with the Premier Pass. These events run from around 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., but you can enter the park as early as 7 p.m., letting you still experience fireworks and atmosphere before crowds thin out. You can even ride rides if you want to get in line for rides, but save room for snacks because you do get free or included in the price of admission snacks all around the park, including popcorn, Mickey premium bars, Mickey ice cream sandwiches, strawberry bars, and sodas and water. Annual pass. Annual passes might seem like they're just for locals, but if you're an out-of-state visitor planning multiple trips or a long stay, they can actually save you money. IncrediPass costs $1,549 plus tax for out-of-state guests. And yes, that's a massive upfront cost, but here's what you're getting. Park Hopper included, free parking, which saves you $30 per day, and discounts, 10% on select dining, 20% on merchandise, and exclusive hotel deals. So if you're planning on staying for a long time or coming multiple times in the same year, it could end up saving you money overall on your vacation. Number 3, sleeping is expensive. Disney needs you to believe that staying on property is the only way to do Disney World right. They sell the idea of being inside the magic 24/7, but when you break down the numbers, is it actually worth it? Or is Disney winning again by charging you way more than you need to pay? Disney hotel prices fluctuate constantly based on demand, and in 2025, they're higher than ever. A night at a value resort like Pop Century or the All-Star Resorts will run you between $160 and $250. A moderate resort like Caribbean Beach or Port Orleans jumps to $250 to $400. If you're looking at deluxe resorts like Grand Floridian or the Polynesian, get ready to spend anywhere from $500 to over $900 per night. And these prices don't even include parking fees, resort fees, or any of the add-ons Disney will try to upsell you on. Disney offers annual pass holder discounts on hotels, sometimes up to 35% off during typically slow seasons, but these are not guaranteed and usually apply to higher tier resorts. So if you're paying $300 a night for a moderate resort, even with 25% discount, you're still paying $225 per night. That's still far more expensive than most off-property options. Then there's the Disney Vacation Club. Disney's timeshare program sounds like a smart investment on paper, but when you really break it down, it's mostly a commitment to pay for deluxe accommodations every year for decades. A typical buy-in now costs around $33,750 for 150 points at the current price of $225 per point. That's just the initial purchase. You also have annual dues, which increase over time. And unlike regular resort bookings, DVC doesn't let you stay at value resorts and pay less. You're locked into deluxe tier pricing whether you want it or not. The break-even point on DVC ownership can take 18 to 24 years depending on how you buy in. And by that point, who knows what Disney's pricing will even look like? Off-property hotels, on the other hand, can cut your lodging costs in half or more without sacrificing convenience. The Disney Springs Resort area hotels are on Disney property. Some of them offer early park entry and cost 30 to 50% less than Disney resorts. The Holiday Inn Orlando Disney Springs and the Drury Plaza Hotel even throw in free breakfast and evening snacks, something Disney resorts just don't do. Just a note that at the Holiday Inn, the snacks they offer in the afternoon are lemonade and cookies, but at the Drury, people say they make a full meal of the hors d'oeuvres that are served there, and you have an allotment of free alcoholic beverages during your stay as well. Whoa! Included, not free. If you want more space and even bigger savings, vacation rentals like VRBO and Airbnb let you book multi-bedroom houses with private pools for around $200 to $300 per night. That's less than a moderate resort. And instead of cramming into a hotel room, you get a full house, a kitchen, a private pool. For families or larger groups, this is an obvious win. And then there's Universal. If you're splitting time between Disney and Universal, staying at a Universal Premier Hotel is one of the best tricks in Orlando. A night at the Royal Pacific Resort costs $400 to $500, cheaper than many Disney Deluxe resorts, but it includes free Express Pass Unlimited, which lets you skip the lines at most Universal rides. That's a perk that would cost hundreds of dollars per person if you paid for it separately. For the price of a moderate resort at Disney, you're getting front of the line access at Universal. Now, off-property hotels aren't perfect. If you stay off-site, you lose access to Disney's extended booking window for ride reservations, which means you're at a slight disadvantage for snagging the hardest to get rides. You'll also have to figure out your own transportation, whether that's renting a car, taking their shuttle, or using ride shares. And of course, you're giving up the immersive theming of a Disney resort. But is that worth paying twice as much for a hotel room? I know many of you are saying yes. And you know what? I don't disagree. This is a decision you have to make with your family or travel party individually, because everyone has different priorities and all we can do is give you all the information. If you're someone who wants the easiest, most immersive experience possible, staying at a Disney resort might still be worth it, especially if you can score a discount. But if you'd rather save hundreds, get more space, or add luxury perks to your trip for less money, off-property hotels and vacation rentals can give you way more for your dollar. Disney wants you to believe that staying on site is the only way to do Disney right, but when you actually break down the numbers, you start to hear a different story. Number 4, you owe what you eat and what you don't eat. A lot of people think they can actually beat Disney with the dining plan, that if they eat enough, they'll come out ahead and outsmart the system. But when you actually run the numbers, that's not what happens at all. Here's what you're paying in 2025. The quick service dining plan costs $59.14 per adult per day and includes 2 quick service meals, 1 snack, and a refillable resort mug. The standard dining plan is $97.79 per adult per day and includes 1 table service meal, 1 quick service meal, and 1 snack. Now let's compare that to what you'd actually spend if you paid out of pocket. Quick service meal, that's an entree with a drink, averages $20 at most locations. Table service meal typically costs around $43 with a drink, and a snack is about $7. So if you're paying cash, a full day of meals would cost about $47 for quick service or $70 for a mix of quick service and table service. But if you're on the dining plan, you're paying more. The quick service plan costs you $12 extra per day compared to what you'd probably spend, and the standard dining plan, you're overpaying by almost $28 per day. This is an estimate. Of course, do the math for yourself. You can look at all the menus on the My Disney Experience app and plan out a typical day for you and your travel party to see if the Disney dining plan is actually a savings for you. But in my experience, coming to Disney World with my family, we always lost money. We always ended up with all these extra snack credits that we were scrambling to use at the resort on our last day, our departure day, and definitely not getting the most for our money. We overpaid by a lot for the Disney dining plan many years in a row. Now, you could technically get your money's worth, but only if you make very specific choices. You'd need to only eat at the most expensive restaurants, order the most expensive entrees, drink alcohol at every meal, and max out every snack credit with the priciest items available. And realistically, most people aren't gonna do that. That takes a lot of time and energy, and you've got other things to do like ride rides and meet characters. And let's talk about that alcohol loophole people love to mention. The dining plan does include alcoholic beverages, 1 drink per meal for guests 21 and over. You can pick from beer, wine, cider, sangria, or a mixed cocktail if available, but only 1 per meal. You don't get a non-alcoholic drink and an alcoholic drink. You have to choose 1. And no, it won't cover souvenir drinks, pitchers, or flights. If you were already planning to drink at every meal, this might help you break even, but if you weren't, it's not even adding any value. Then there's the refillable resort mug. Disney loves to sell this as a big perk, but let's be clear, it only works at your Disney resort, not inside the parks. You can refill it with soda, coffee, or tea at any quick service location at your resort for the length of your stay, but once you head to the parks, you're buying drinks just like everybody else. And speaking of drinks, let's talk about the worst mistake you can make with a dining plan, using a snack credit for bottled water. A bottle of Dasani in the parks now costs $4. The average value of a Disney dining plan snack credit is around $6.99. That means if you use a credit on bottled water, you're throwing away almost $3 a bottle. You could have used that credit on a Mickey pretzel, a specialty cupcake, or something that actually feels worth the cost. Instead, you just paid $7 for a little bottle of water. This is why ordering essentials like bottled water, coffee, and breakfast items to be delivered to your hotel is one of the best money-saving moves you can make. Right now, a 24-pack of Kroger purified bottled water is priced at $2.99, discounted for the regular price of $3.59. That's 12 cents a bottle. That means if you use a snack credit for bottled water, you'd be spending more than 58 times more than if you had a case delivered to your hotel. Let's just make an agreement right now to stop doing this. That is losers behavior, and we are winners. And if you don't want to deal with grocery delivery, you can still get free water in the parks. Every quick service location in Disney World will give you a free cup of ice water, no purchase required. Many parks also have refill stations where you can bring your own water bottle and fill up throughout the day. So what's the smarter alternative to the dining plan? Pre-loading a gift card. If you love the idea of having your dining money set aside in advance, if that gives you security and peace of mind so you can just hang out and enjoy yourself, but you don't want to be locked into Disney's system and you want to be able to have that money afterwards. Use the money that you own, your own money. If you don't spend it on food, if you want to have access to that to spend it on other things like souvenirs and experiences, load the exact amount you would have paid for the Disney dining plan onto a Disney gift card. This way you're still budgeting for meals, but if you don't use it all, you have that money left over. Because it's your money, it's our money. Why are we giving them our money for free? That's loser behavior. And once again, yes, I won't do it as enthusiastically this time, but we're winners! Oh my gosh, I was more enthusiastic. This is why the dining plan exists. It's not there to save you money. It's there to make sure Disney gets more of your money up front, locks you into eating at their restaurants, and guarantees they profit whether you use every credit or not. And let's face it, you're probably not going to use every credit. Disney periodically offers promotions that include free dining plans as part of vacation packages. Most recently, Disney announced a free dining offer for guests visiting during specific periods. To qualify, guests needed to book a non-discounted minimum 3-night, 3-day Walt Disney World vacation booked through the Walt Disney Travel Company, including a room at a select Disney Resort hotel and a ticket with a park hopper option. This was available for arrivals most nights from May 27th to June 26th, 2025, and July 7th to August 6th, 2025, with the booking window open from January 2nd to February 10th, 2025, which of course is now closed. While these promotions are not constant, they are not exceedingly rare either. Disney has a history of offering free dining plans during certain times of the year to boost attendance during traditionally slower periods. For example, similar promotions were available in 2024 targeting Disney Plus subscribers and Disney Visa card holders for select dates. To maximize savings, it's also beneficial to watch for special deals such as hotel and ticket bundles. These packages can provide significant discounts and may include additional perks like free dining plans or other incentives. Staying informed about upcoming promotions and booking within the specified window can lead to substantial savings on your Disney vacation. That is why you always want to stay tuned to AllEars.net, the AllEars YouTube channel you're watching right now, and all our social media channels, because we will let you know the moment a deal like this comes up. If you made it to the end, go ahead and enter this password into the comments so we know you're one of the real ones. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, because my friends and I post content 7 days a week all about tips and games and deep dives all about Walt Disney World and beyond. Now go watch me break down all of the doomed rides of Disney World. See you next time.